You know, we've all seen it happen. A brand, a celebrity, some big organization suddenly gets caught in a social media firestorm, right? One minute everything's fine, and the next, bam, they're issuing a public apology. It's that one moment that can totally define or, well, destroy a reputation. So what's the playbook for when that crisis strikes? Let's get into it.
Just imagine the second it all goes down. There's no alarm bell, but your phone starts blowing up. Notifications, angry emails, frantic calls. Inside the company, the pressure just skyrockets. The whole world is watching, and literally every second counts. And those first words you choose, they are absolutely critical.
You've heard this one before, right? The first thing that comes out is almost always some version of, "We are taking this very seriously." And look, it's an attempt to show you're in control, but on its own, it just feels so hollow, like a pre-written script. It might buy you a couple of hours, but it sure isn't building any trust.
And then, right after that, you get the attempt to contain the damage. You hear something like, "This is just an isolated incident." The goal here is pretty obvious: stop the bleeding. But you gotta be careful, because if that turns out not to be true, that statement will come back to haunt you big time.
So, what are we really talking about here? Well, this whole field is called crisis communication. And it's not just about a press release, it's this entire ecosystem of information, this constant back and forth between all the players. And notice the timeline here: before, during, and after. This is a marathon, my friends, not a sprint.
Okay, this right here is maybe the most important takeaway of all. The picture of the crisis, what people think is happening, that becomes their reality. The story that takes hold on social media and in the news, that's what's going to shape public opinion, no matter what the objective facts are. Your job in a crisis is to manage that picture.
And managing that picture, it starts way, way before the storm ever hits. I want you to think about it like a bank account, but for credibility. You can't just show up during a financial panic and ask for a huge loan if you've never made a single deposit. The exact same thing is true for trust.
And this quote just nails it. The most effective crisis management isn't reactive, it's proactive. It's all the work you do when things are calm that's going to save your skin when things get chaotic.
So, how do you make those deposits into your credibility account? Well, it's about being consistently open and honest in everything you do. It's building real relationships with the media when you don't need anything from them. It's earning public trust day by day, little by little. That way, when a crisis does hit, you have this huge reserve of goodwill to draw from.
All right, but let's be real. No matter how much you prepare, storms happen. So let's jump right into the eye of the storm itself, that critical first response, when absolutely everything is on the line.
Remember this? April 2017. A video just goes viral. It shows a passenger, Dr. David Dow, being forcibly and bloodily dragged off an overbooked United Airlines flight. The footage was just shocking. The public outcry was immediate, and it was intense. Suddenly, United was in the middle of a perfect storm.
And what happened next is a classic tale of two responses. The first one, on the left, used this awful corporate jargon, reaccommodating passengers. It was completely tone-deaf, and it made it sound like they were blaming the victim. The backlash was insane. It was only later that they came out with the statement on the right, a simple, human apology that took full responsibility. The language, it changed everything.
So it really makes you think, right? When you're on the outside looking in, watching one of these crises unfold, what are the things you're actually waiting to hear? It's not corporate speak, that's for sure. It's something way more simple and direct. Turns out it really just boils down to these three questions. Number one, what are you doing right now? 2, what actually went wrong here? And 3, what's your plan to fix it and make damn sure it never happens again? If you can answer these 3 questions clearly and quickly, you are on the right track. And all of this is built on a few core principles. The first one is transparency. Think about it. A closed-off organization immediately makes you suspicious. If it feels like they're hiding something, we're all just going to assume the worst. Being open, even when you don't have all the answers yet, is always the better way to go. Next up, you have to be accessible. This means people need a way to get information. If journalists can't reach you for a comment, guess what? They'll just find someone else to tell the story, and it probably won't be the story you want. If your customers can't get answers, their frustration is just going to boil over. And finally, and maybe this is the most important one, show some understanding. Acknowledge the human element of the crisis. Remember that people's lives and their health are always more important than property or profits. You have to lead with empathy. This is exactly what was missing from that first United statement about reaccommodate.
Okay, so once the initial fire is out, the work is far from over. Now comes the next phase, which is all about the long, slow process of navigating the aftermath and trying to rebuild what you lost: public trust.
A perfect case study for this is the massive Toyota recall crisis back in 2009 and 2010. Reports started coming out about cars accelerating on their own. I mean, this was a huge safety scare, and it struck right at the heart of the Toyota brand, which, was built entirely on reliability and quality.
Now, Toyota's road to recovery was really tough, but they followed the playbook perfectly. They showed transparency by openly admitting to the technical problems. They showed understanding by putting customer safety first with huge, expensive recalls. And their CEO showed accountability by personally standing before the U.S. Congress and the world to apologize. That kind of visible leadership, that was key.
So what does this all mean for us today? Well, the principles themselves are timeless, but the playing field? Oh, it has changed dramatically.
The whole media landscape is just fundamentally different. It used to be that a story would break on the evening news. Now, a crisis can be broadcast to the entire world from a single smartphone in a matter of seconds. The time you have to respond has shrunk from hours down to mere minutes.
So the key takeaways are still the same, but now they're just amplified by 1,000. Action has to be immediate and decisive. Transparency isn't just nice to have, it's non-negotiable. Communication has to be direct, and leaders, they absolutely cannot hide. This is the playbook for navigating a crisis in the 21st century.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. The playbook is there. The rules are pretty clear. But in a world where a crisis moves at the speed of light, is it even possible to be fully prepared? Or is the true test just how you react in that split second, right after everything goes wrong?